coat of arms is set to a standard design throughout Canada. The maple leaf surround is representative of Canada. The royal crown is a gift from Her Majesty the Queen. The dogwood is the British Columbia provincial flower, and the inner portion of the badge is the shield from the city's coat of arms. It has the inscription, Pergite usque, the Latin translation of the city's motto, Forge Ahead. The inner shield, the city's coat of arms, depicts the Selkirk Mountains, a gold crown, signifying the city's status as the Queen City of the Kootenays, and waves representing the Kootenay River. The red fish between them is our native kokanee. Can we all stand? The command of the Nelson Police Department will now be transferred to the newly appointed Chief Constable.
Chief Burkhart, do you relinquish command of the Nelson Police Department?
I relinquish command of the Nelson Police Department.
You may stand down. Donovan Fisher, do you accept command of the Nelson Police Department?
I accept command.
To record this historic event, a parchment has been prepared in commemoration. I now invite Nelson Mayor John Dooley, retiring Chief Constable Paul Burkhart, and Chief Constable Designate Donovan Fisher to come forward to proceed with the signing of the change of command certificate. And I'll now invite Mayor John Dooley to come forward to administer Chief Constable Designate Fisher's Oath of Allegiance.
Donovan Fisher, do you solemnly swear that I will faithfully and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Canada, her heirs and successors?
I do so swear.
And that I will, to the best of my power, cause the peace to be kept and prevent all offences against persons and properties of Her Majesty's subjects.
I do.
And that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially perform my duties as a municipal constable for the City of Nelson, British Columbia.
I will.
Mayor Dooley will now present Chief Constable Fisher with the Chief Constable badge. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief Constable of the Nelson Police Department, Chief Constable Donovan Fisher. I'd now like to invite Nelson Creston MLA Brittany Anderson to say a few words.
Hi, And congratulations very much, Chief Fisher. It is fantastic to have you serving our community in this new capacity. I greatly look forward to getting to know you. And I would like to say a few words for our former chief, Paul Burkhart, for the incredible work that you've done for our community and always having the heart of our community throughout your work, looking at harm reduction, being a part of the fentanyl task force, and really bringing our community together when we really needed it during COVID. So I just greatly appreciate your service. And Chief Fisher, I hope that you will love and take as good of care of our community as we love this place so much. And we just want to welcome you to our community and thank you so much for your service. And congratulations today. That's it.
I now invite His Worship Mayor John Dooley to speak.
Thank you, Detective Constable Sarah Hanna, and welcome everybody. Today it's a very special day for our community, special day for our retired Chief Paul Burkhart, and extra special day for our new Chief Donovan Fisher. And I want to start by saying a few words, and it's a goodbye and a welcome today. And I've had the pleasure of working with 3 different chiefs in my time as mayor of the city of Nelson, and each one of them brought a different strength to the table and adjusted with the times. But I don't think any of our chiefs in the past had to make the about turn and about face that Chief Burkhart had to make in the last number of years. None the least of which was dealing with COVID, but all the other special and different pressures that are put on our police officers and our police department in our municipality today. Chief Burkhart, our community has got to know you in so many ways that have led us in a direction that, ironically enough, is somewhat ahead of its time. In the committees that you joined and the global vision that you brought to policing in our city benefited not only ourselves, but people in the surrounding area. And I want to thank you on behalf of the people of Nelson for the good work that you've done in your time as a Chief Officer of the Nelson Municipal Police Department. The uniform that you wore with pride and dignity, and you were never behind the 8 ball when it came to stepping out into our community and taking on the roles and responsibilities of leading us through, particularly through this COVID time, when we had a mandate from the province of British Columbia to house the most vulnerable people in our community. It was our Chief Constable that stepped up to lead that committee of NGOs in our community to make sure that everybody in our city was safe. And that is the role and responsibility of every one of our officers and the people that work for our community. Is the role and responsibility is to make sure each and every person in our community is safe, feels comfortable in their environment that they're in. I just wanted to mention one other thing about the value of policing in our community. Stats clearly indicate that when people look at a place that they want to live and work in, they look at several different barometers to help them make that decision. None the least of which is it a safe community to live in? And I've been a resident of Nelson for over 40 years, and it's one of the safest places in the country, and the stats clearly show that on an annual basis. Chief Constable Burkhart's retiring from us today. We will miss him greatly, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time working with you, Paul, and I want to thank you very much, sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart for the service that you've given to our community and the relationship that you and I have built over the last number of years. With that, I would like to welcome our new Chief Constable, Donovan Fisher, who comes to us from Saskatchewan. And Saskatchewan is one of those provinces where people never seem to leave. And no matter where you go, you'll find somebody that has some connection to Saskatchewan. And there's an old saying, folks from Saskatchewan, they don't immigrate. They actually, their tentacles just go out into all factors of our community. And we want to welcome you and your family to Nelson. We're very excited about having you as part, not only our police chief, but also a member of our community. And we look forward to working closely with you going forward. Our board is very excited to be the board that chose the new chief, and they're excited to have our first meeting with you coming up on next Wednesday. And we can't wait to meet the rest of your family when they eventually get here to Nelson after the school year is over. I think that's your plans going forward. I had the privilege of talking with you for a few minutes earlier in the week, and of course we had a conversation about, not about managing the police department, but some of the expectations our community has. And I think Paul, in his time as Chief Constable, set the bar for a new direction for policing and the role and responsibility of the Chief Constable in our community. And that is community engagement, being visible, being out in the community, working closely with people. But at the same time, your core service is protection of our community, protection of the citizens of our community, standing up with your team and standing behind your officers and making sure that our community is a safe place to live. We want to welcome you, Donovan Fisher, to Nelson, and I personally look forward to working with you, as does our board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Dooley. And now Chief Constable Paul Burkhart will say a few words.
I'm going to take this mask off for a second. MLA Anderson, Mayor Dooley, members of the Nelson Police Board, members of the City Council, City Nelson Management Team, sworn and civilian members of the Nelson Police Department, honored guests, and citizens of Nelson. Thank you very much for attending the Change of Command ceremony today. Live streaming, a bit of a different ceremony, but a bit of a different time. When I applied for the Nelson Police Department back in the day, I did so because I wanted my children to be brought up in a small community just like Nelson, like I was. For my daughters, Kira and Julia, who are both off in university, I could not be prouder of the two young, beautiful women they've turned into. They are hardworking, intelligent, and athletic, but even more so, they are inclusive, caring, and kind. Traits they have so readily learned from their mother and my wife, Eve. My three girls, my biggest supporters for all of this, thank you, I love you. A lot of the credit for whom my girls have become, I give to this beautiful little city of ours, Nelson, and the wonderful people here. The teachers, the coaches, the art and piano instructors, my girls' friends, and their friends' parents, and so many more. Our decision to come to Nelson 21 years ago was simply the best decision we ever made. As police officers, we do not come to Nelson expecting to be advanced through the ranks, but it's certainly been an honor to be so. Whether taking on a detective's position or my first promotion to sergeant or my subsequent promotions to inspector and deputy chief, I always felt very honored to receive these promotions. But to reach the rank of chief constable, it was not only an honor, but a realization of one's dream. So Mayor Dooley, and to our previous mayor, Mayor Kozak, and all the members of the police board that I have served with, thank you very much for providing me this opportunity. To the sworn and civilian men and women of the department, thank you for letting me be your chief. I've been witness to all your accomplishments and abilities for the past 21 years. I know you go into the future, you will continue to build on strong reputations of dedicated, proud service to our community. I know you will continue to build on the solid relationships and successful collaborations that you as members of this department, have forged with community organizations, our policing partners, and the community at large in support of excellence in policing in Nelson. Chief Constable Fisher. See, I told you that's a way better title than superintendent. I wish you, Deb, and your family the very best in the task ahead. I've appreciated working with you this past week, and based on my first impressions, I think the department and the community will be in good hands. If you serve as I expect you will not only have behind you a police department that can measure up to any police department in this nation, but an entire community as well. Thank you to Detective Sarah Hanna for being our MC, for Staff Sergeant Brian Weber for being our entire color guard today, and for David for taking care of the IT. Thank you to Shiloh for making this modified virtual ceremony happen today. And more importantly, Shiloh, thank you for being my police partner these past 5 years. Thank you for having my back. I simply could not have done it without you. You are the best. Thank you. And thank you again, everyone, for attending today. I look forward to seeing you all at a community event, hopefully in the very near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Constable Burkhart. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Chief Constable Donovan Fisher.
Thank you, Detective Ham. Good morning, MLA Brittany Anderson, Mayor Dooley, members of the Nelson Police Board, members of City Council, City of Nelson's management team, sworn and civilian members of the Nelson Police Department, honored guests, and citizens of Nelson. Firstly, I want to thank His Worship, the members of the Nelson Police Board, Joanna Markin, City Human Resources, for this opportunity. I'm both humbled and honored to have been chosen as the next chief of the Nelson Police Department. The COVID masks the last while have done nothing but mask the smile on my face. I'm very impressed with the dedication and the professionalism of the members and the staff of the NPD and the quality of work that I have seen that is being done in the department. I want to also acknowledge and thank Chief Burkhart for his commitment and dedication to the citizens of Nelson, as well to the numerous partners and committees that he was so deeply involved in and that are doing great work in the community. In the short time that I've had the pleasure of knowing Chief Burkhart, it is apparent to me that he is a quality individual. I understand why so many people were sad to see him going, even if it's to a well-deserved retirement. And except for a little bit of self-interest on my part, there was days I thought about asking him to stay as well. I appreciate his support and his ongoing assistance in this time of our transition, and I know his shoes are going to be difficult ones to fill, so thank you, Paul. Policing is a rewarding but often difficult profession. I do not believe that modern policing has faced such examination and scrutiny as it has in recent times. I believe police departments and their members need to be open to hearing feedback, criticisms, and suggestions on how policies and operations can be done better. I am committed to continued improvement and to ensuring that all people are treated fairly, with respect, empathy, and compassion. Police officers have great authorities and great responsibilities, and with that comes an equal level of accountability. Officers need to be answerable for their decisions, statements, and actions, and will be. People should not be hesitant or afraid to bring up issues or report wrongdoings. But I will also say that accountability is a two-way street. People who knowingly make vexatious, exaggerated, or false complaints that jeopardize officers' careers and livelihoods also need to be held accountable for their actions and statements. I'm also committed to the safety and wellness of all the staff and officers at the Nelson Police Department. As I already mentioned, policing is a difficult profession, whether it's officers attending traumatic scenes, dispatchers being the first point of contact for witnesses and victims at tragic events, or support staff handling graphic crime scene pictures and photographs to go into disclosure packages, or transcribing disturbing statements. We can't ignore the cumulative effect of these reoccurring exposures. Efforts must be made to maintain not only physical fitness and resilience, but the mental health and wellness of our employees and co-workers as well. Stigmas, both real and perceived, need to be removed from policing and as a society as a whole, so people can get the care and assistance they need early on. This not only is a benefit to the individual, but it's a benefit to the department and the staff and the community. Finally, I want to commend the members of the Nelson Police Department and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police members of the Nelson Detachment. I'd also like to acknowledge the Southeast District of the RCMP for their strong working relationship and cooperation that I've seen in the community. During my house hunting trip a couple weeks ago, the officer presence in the community was very noticeable, and it was great to see. And I quite often saw a Nelson police vehicle along with an RCMP vehicle. So I can tell already that there's a great working relationship, and I'll work hard to maintain and improve that relationship and cooperation between our two departments. In closing, I want to say how excited I am to be here. I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you better, as well as myself, my wife Deborah, my son Kieran, and my two daughters Riordan and Averin are looking forward to becoming part of your beautiful community here in Nelson, BC. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Constable Fisher. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just witnessed a moment in Nelson history. We've said goodbye to one Chief Constable and have welcomed another into our ranks. On behalf of all the sworn and civilian members of the Nelson Police Department and the Nelson Police Board, thank you all for sharing this historic visit with us.